Hello guys, I am Akash Biswas and I welcome you all to Cricket Next. Team India is currently in Sri Lanka for a white ball tour which starts from 27th of July with a 3-match T20I series. This tour marks the beginning of the Gautam Gambhir era in Indian cricket, but for Sri Lanka it stands to be a crucial one as they look to revamp themselves after a series of ups and downs in the past years. Well, to discuss more about this, today we'll have a former Sri Lanka cricketer who will also be there in the com box calling the game when world champions Team India take on host Sri Lanka. Let's welcome former Sri Lanka cricketer and commentator Russel Arnold.
It's a great honor for me to talking to you. Welcome to Cricket Next. Russell, since there is India versus Sri Lanka series in place, but before talking about cricket specifically, there has been a lot of ups and downs with the Sri Lanka cricket board itself. So I would also like to understand them one by one. But before I'll start my first question. Your thoughts on the appointment of Charita Salanka as the new Sri Lanka captain in the T20s?
Well, he's one of those Sri Lanka have thought the captaincy material since he was a schoolboy, captain the Sri Lanka under 19 team. Reads the game well, and even in terms of an individual player, was touted to be one of our best. He's been slow in getting into the now that he's in main position. And Hasaranga unfortunately had to move on for the betterment of his game and also the Sri Lankan team. I think the time has finally come, and to a player who we've always thought will be the man taking the team forward for many years. And tactically, he's strong. Under pressure, he's strong individually, and now looking forward to seeing how he gets the better out of the rest of the team in tricky encounters ahead.
As you spoke about tricky encounters, on that note, I would like to ask you that, past few months have been pretty much tough for Sri Lanka cricket as well as the team. And we have seen that it looks pretty strong on paper, but they haven't been up to the mark in bigger tournaments, like basically the ICC tournaments. In fact, the recently, ICC T20 World Cup. So how, in your opinion, Sri Lanka can achieve their old rapport back? What has to be done with them?
Well, I think initially the players need to take responsibility. There are certain games at the T20 World Cup also where they did not win moments in a game. So those moments are won by the players themselves making decisions then and there. So with the players now being rocked, the position or the T20 World Cup being a flop, and they know about it. It's hard. It's a lonely place to be in. So we are now thinking that since it's a fresh start, we're looking at a new cycle. We're looking at a new captain. There are a few new changes, uh, and even also fresh faces in the team. The combination is different. Hence, that freshness to actually allow them to express themselves and try and make up for what hasn't been them letting themselves down and letting the team down. So I reckon Sri Lankan players need to initially take responsibility, and if they can make a few more or better decisions while on the park, I think results will change, and that will give us some direction.
So basically, you meant that, it requires to be press the reset button and starting from the scratch once again. And going ahead,
Yeah, pretty much so. But we're always talking about the system and administrators and whatever. But initial responsibility lies on the players, and I believe our players, they're talented, can do a lot more. Hence, that's where we start.
so in on that note, how it's going to be, facing a team like India, recent T20 world champions, and as you said that Sri Lanka needs to get better if the players start taking responsibility. So how you are going to see this series, how the matchup would be between a world champion team India and Sri Lanka, who is, looking to find some answers.
I think it's going to be closer than you think. I think the Sri Lankan players will be up for this. I think Sri Lanka on a whole have realized areas they need to develop, areas they need to address to get the team better in terms of skills. Now, even in terms of skills, you get top order batters, middle order batters who can hit a ball hard, you get the power hitters. So, in such angles, also, certain areas have been identified. They're working on it. And I think since there's a clearer direction, they will do better. And if and maybe even catch India napping. Sri Lanka's bowling, there's no doubt that they do have variety and a strong bowling lineup. They need to get all three departments firing together. And it's amazing what a few wins can do to you. So if you can get a couple of wins against the defending champions, as you said, whether it be the first 15 or first 11 who are here, India has a quality T20 side and depth. Hence, they will always be very difficult to beat. So it's a good challenge. And I think it will be a lot more interesting and tighter than a lot of people think.
Talking about the interesting part of this series, the Sri Lankan squad that was announced just a few, almost 24 hours ago. If you look at it, it has several captains, several captains who have previously led Sri Lanka. So now that, that responsibility of leading the side is not on their shoulders, do you think this is the right opportunity to put up their A game in front of a team like India?
There's no better opportunity. Everyone's there because they, as right now or anytime, um, you are the best available players that are there. And if Sri Lanka are to take that turnaround, whether you're captain or not, or whether it's captain or whoever you are, it really doesn't matter. You have to show up and you have to do your job and you have to complement the team. If not, this team is not going to take a U-turn. So that is the focus on it. Of course, the experience is there. Sri Lanka doesn't have a vice captain. The simple reason is because there's so much experience, and it's not fair to, or it's not right to appoint a former captain as a vice captain. So those windows are open for plenty of help for Sri Lanka in taking the team forward. But it's just about getting out there and doing the business, whoever you are or wherever you're from.
Yes, and in a previous, the answer to the previous question you mentioned about the bowlers. If I pinpoint some of them like Matisha Patirana and Mahesh Dikshana, they all have been, and in fact, they have, gained so much of experience playing in the IPL, and recently they have also done well in the LPL as well. And in fact, Wanindu Hasranga is also there who did well in the LPL. So, do you think that experience will be carried forward to this upcoming series against India?
It has to be. It has to be that they take a lead role in making a change of Sri Lanka's fortunes. But as I mentioned, it's important. Yes, Sri Lanka have a good bowling attack, but it's important to be fair by them and give them runs on the board. You put the runs on the board, I'm sure that bowlers will do their bit. But if they're asked to do too much in the sense of always having to pick up wickets or always looking for glory balls, it becomes hard. A bowling unit, however, or even any bowler who's however good he is, he needs to do the basics right. That's when he gets the results. So you must give them that or put them in that position that they can do their basics and then get the results rather than always having to just pull a rabbit out of the hat.
And the absence of Angelo Matthews and De Silva, how do you see that? Did it come as a surprise for you that these two names are not there?
No, not at all. Not surprised at all. The score, when I look at the squad, I can't find fault with it. The only reason I might have thought was Banu Paraksa, the way he batted in the last couple of games. He was outstanding, but then when you look at the squad, you got to balance the squad as well. So it kind of makes sense that how he missed out or why he missed out. But I really can't find too much find fault with it. And yes, Angelo Matthews, Dhananjay De Silva, I'm definitely not surprised.
Well, Russell, you pretty well explained the players part of the discussion, but I'm now moving to the coaching side. Legendary Sanat Jayasuriya will be coaching the Sri Lankan team. How big the move is? How would you analyze that?
Well, Sanak Jayasuri was involved as a consultant, and at the moment, Sri Lanka have started the process to look for a head coach, his interim coach. He stepped up to make sure that everything works smoothly. And he's played, as you know, he's played a lot of cricket and he's done wonders. And hence, he will know what the boys lack. He understands the culture. He'll know how to handle them, get a message across, and probably even push them. And then I'm thinking in shortcomings he might have as a coach. People have their strengths and weaknesses, so it's about getting the required support in, which will be done to address any specific areas that need to be. And hence, that's all we can ask for. We can ask for effort, we can ask for change, we can ask for a direction, and I think we're getting it at the moment.
Nice. And this upcoming series is going to be interesting in terms of the coaching and captaincy duo between both the teams. In fact, in India as well, we recently had Gautam Gambhir on board as the head coach and Surya Kumar Yadav going to lead the side. So, if I ask about your opinion, how do you see someone like a furious character? I'm not furious, but fearsome character like Gautam Gambhir taking over someone like Rahul Dravid, who has been cool as an ice. So, what your analysis over that?
Well, it will be interesting, but Gautam Gambhir, as you said, knows his stuff. He knows how to handle people. He knows how to handle teams. And whatever team he's been involved with has got the result. So sometimes players, when we play, we are able to go out there and perform. But then it becomes a challenge to get a message across, get others to perform, which Gautam Gambhir has shown it that he can do. We definitely know it's going to be a different style. There'll be a bit of adjustment for people to come to terms with Gautam Gambhir, but I think the change is also good because then you become too familiar with one system, and hence they'll be shaken up, maybe even woken up that you still need to get better and you still need to perform a lot more. So I think going in opposite directions, it might just excite everyone and keep everyone on their toes too.
And how do you see Captain Surya Kumar Yadav, gelling up with a coach like Gautam Gambhir, and how does India going to do, under their companionship?
I think India will do well because you know that they have this, the skill and talent. Sri Lanka has the skill and talent, but we're not able to put that into performances. Indian players know to do that. They have enough depth, too much depth. They've been able to create that, so they're blessed. So I think even for the players, they do understand if they want to be a part, they got to be performing all the time. So no one's being complacent, and hence they will always be strong and going forward. Surya Kumar Yadav is an exceptional player, probably one of the better T20 players going around. To be able to play like that, he's got to be understanding and reading the game in ways that others don't. So that's going to be a different new dimension that India will add to themselves. So if you take the flair of Surya Kumar Yadav and then Gautam Gambhir, probably that intense competitiveness, I think they'll complement each other. That's what you need. You can't have both characters the same. So that you now India might get a balance in how the two personalities are.
Well, Russell, thank you so much. That's all from my side. It was great, chatting with you and looking forward to listening to you on air. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers. Thank you.